Hi Janet, thank you very much for agreeing to take part in the interview, for everything. And for those who don't know, Janet is the winner of our competition Poland and me. And could you present yourself first po polsku? So we have a sample that we learned you something in class.
Tak, nazywam się Janet Fox. Mieszkam w Horsham, Pennsylvania w Ameryce. Jest blisko Filadelfii. Jestem Amerykanką. Mam męża, Jeff. Mam dwie dzieci, Julia i Wtedy. Moja córka Julia. Mam męża, Joe. I 4 dzieci. Marie, Joey, Lucy i Michael.
To duża rodzina.
Tak.
And for those who didn't read your work, your essay, which by the way is great and I recommend everybody to read it, could you tell us briefly why you decided to learn Polish?
Yes, my family is from Poland originally. My grandparents came here early in the 20th century. My grandfather Michael is from Lublin, and when he was just a teenager, about 16 years old, soldiers came in the middle of the night looking for conscripts. So he escaped from being inducted into the army by going to America. My grandmother is from a town called Romanov, which is close to Lublin, and she really hadn't planned on going to America. She had a sister who was here, and her sister was married and wanted her mother to come live with her. So, but my great-grandmother asked my babci to bring her to America, because she was, at that point, she was in her 50s and felt she was too old to travel by herself. And at that time, it was a very difficult journey because they came over by steamship, and the trip took about 30 days. So they came to America, and originally, again, my grandmother, she was going to go back to Poland because she had a boyfriend who she thought she would probably marry. And so when she said goodbye to him, he said, "You'll never come back." And she said, "Oh yes, I will." He goes, "No, you'll never come back to Poland." So they parted on very sad terms. So she came to America and again was planning on coming back. However, things didn't go as well as they had thought. They felt America was this wonderful place, which it is, but they didn't realize that they would still be poor there. They wouldn't be rich. So her mother had a very difficult time adjusting to America and didn't get along well with her son-in-law. So they kind of decided for my grandmother that she should get married to somebody and take the mother with her. So she kind of was pushed into getting married, although she did find my grandfather, and they had a hard life together, but they shared it all together. After they got married, they had 2 children, Helen and Stella is my mother. And my parents, my father also on his side, all spoke Polish at home until they went to school. And it was in school that they learned to speak English. But when they would come home from school, they would speak Polish in the home. And eventually my parents met and married. My father is also a little bit Ukrainian. So when they started to have children, the grandparents were fighting over which language we should learn, Polish or Ukrainian. So my parents decided we're Americans, we're going to have them to speak English. So consequently, I didn't know any Polish except for baci, jaji, chachi, and pierogi. So anyway, it wasn't a problem for many years. And we still practiced like some Polish traditions at home, so it wasn't just, even though we didn't have the language, we still had some kind.
So you knew something about Polish traditions,
yes.
Food, yeah. And before the interview, you showed me the photo of the lover.
Yes, my grandmother.
Yeah,
yeah, so she actually did go back to Poland she met him, and here he had never married because it turned out that she was the love of his life. And when she came back, she had a photo album of all the places she had been in Poland. And as a child, I first of all was amazed she could go there because it was still under communist rule. But she did go, and I found that I asked at that time, you know, why didn't Jaji go with her? She went with her sister. And that's when I learned that when the soldiers came in the middle of the night, he had hidden in the barn initially, and then they were getting closer to him. So he decided to jump on his horse and ride away. And he ran over the captain and didn't know if he had killed him or what had happened to him, but he was afraid that if he hadn't lived, that perhaps if he came back to Poland, they wouldn't let him go back to America again.
Yeah, and in the photo, he said that on the other side of the photo there was writing, and that you were never let to read the writing.
Right. When she came back from Poland, had this book, the photo album, and it tucked in was this picture. And I asked, oh, who is that? And I was told about her boyfriend. And there was writing on the back, and my grandmother quickly took it away because she didn't want us to see the back. And now that I'm learning Polish, I was able to translate the back of it. I actually, now that my grandmother's gone, my mother has the photo, and it says that it, I don't remember exactly, but basically, for my dearest Mary, a souvenir from a young admirer lost. So it made me very sad that, you know, he really did love her so much.
It's heartbreaking.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, so if you knew Polish tradition and food, then when you came to Poland, it must have been like really maybe weird to actually see all the traditions and things, you know, that you were learning.
Yes, I guess I had some preconceptions about what Poland would be like. And mostly since my grandmother and grandfather had been so poor, I expected just poverty everywhere. And Poland is so much more, Krakow, such a brilliant city. And I've been very, very impressed by what I've seen. Some of my preconceptions have been true. One that Americans have of Polish people is that they have great hospitality. And so once I came here, first of all, I was living with a host family, and the lady that I'm with is so gracious and loving, and it's like it's my own home. I don't feel at all like a visitor. And then the other preconception we have is that Polish people are very religious, which is true. There's so many churches in Krakow. I've managed to go to about 14 of them.
But you know, like 50 of them? How many did you have on your list?
I had about 20, and I made it to 14 of them. And I went to Mass to about 7. But what impressed me is the pews. This is probably nothing to you, you take it for granted, but the kneelers where you kneel down to pray are all hardwood. Or people will just kneel on these stone floors. Like in America, people like their comfort and would never do that. So I was very impressed by how devout everybody is.
So I see that you visited all the places in Krakow.
Yes.
And do you have a favorite one, a favorite place you'd recommend to see?
Yes. There's so many beautiful churches. That's mostly what I have seen. But my very favorite is the Divine Mercy Shrine. And mostly because I love St. Faustina, and there is a shrine to Divine Mercy in America, in Massachusetts, which is not really that far away from me. It's maybe 5-7 hours of drive, but I always said, oh, it's too far. So here I came over 3,000 miles, so I figured I better go to the original shrine.
Okay, so you like it a lot?
Oh, I loved it, yes.
Okay, and also in Krakow, maybe you have some favorite restaurants or places to eat?
Well, I have to admit,
or maybe your host was so...
my host has been very, very gracious, and even though I didn't expect her to give me meals, every night we pretty much share kolacja together, and she has the best sernik or szarlotka.
Okay.
So we have that pretty much every evening.
And what's your favorite Polish food?
Well, it definitely has to be pierogies.
Okay. With which stuffing? Or maybe all of them?
Well, all of them. I have to tell you about a special one we have in Philadelphia. That's a pierogi. Philadelphia is known for a thing called cheesesteaks. It's a long roll with beef, which is chopped into tiny little pieces, and cheese. Well, because we're in Philadelphia, the Polish people there make pierogi with cheesesteak inside them.
Okay, sounds really special. And is there some Polish dish that you hate?
Yes, unfortunately, I'm not a fan of choroby.
Doesn't surprise me at all. A lot of people mention food when I ask about food they hate. Okay, and the last question. Do you have a favorite Polish word?
I guess it would be Matko Boża.
Yeah, older people say that a lot. Okay, Janet, thank you a lot for the interview, for the story you shared with us. Thank you very much.